to Semper Sometimes with Benny. So this is going to be take 2, because I...
Take 3.
Yeah, actually, realistically, yeah. So, I have with us Scotty. I can now say he's a friend of mine, because a month ago when we did the first episode that hasn't aired, we were just acquaintances by a friend of ours, Nick. So, due to Nick meeting us, introducing us, not meeting us, introducing us, we're now here.
Reintroducing.
Reintroducing. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm ruining it already.
So, long story short, I have to thank my buddy Chris Pashota, because the way in which we all met was my buddy Chris Pashota was watching Fox 5 News at like 11 o'clock one night and was like, hey, dude, you got to have this dude on your podcast. And I was like, who? By the time I got onto the news, he had already left, but he was like, oh, his name was Scotty, and then said his last name Nokes. So I looked him up on Facebook and came to know that we had like 5 or 6 mutual friends. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hit up all these guys, because I heard his story on the news and I was like, wow, I need to hear about it. And I had to be going on YouTube, and, like always, I Facebook stalked you to find out how I knew you. And lo and behold, you're really good friends with my friend Nick Rassiopi. And we also knew the same recruiter, and then we find out long throughout the conversation, halfway through the episode, where you're like, wait a minute, are you Doug Bennett? And it's like, we just did an hour and a half episode, but yes, that's me.
Figured out the name. I was like,
you're like, I remember.
Once you said Mr. Bean, I was like, I remember running with you. We ran through Fort Vomit.
Yeah, so we actually were police together and had no idea until halfway through the episode. But one of the reasons why I wanted to have him on the show was because, like I said, I haven't been able to get the first episode published and reached out to you guys because it's just a lot of working parts, and I feel like I'm holding stuff in that you guys don't know, and I want my listeners to be able to hear your story. And I've already shared your story with a lot of people, but just not the full-on story because it's not mine to share. But like I said in the first take, your story, just you being a friend of mine, which now I call you a friend. Whether you call me a friend or not, that's cool. But
you're good.
But I just want you to know, man, that I talk about you all the time. I told the Marine rapper about you. I told the dude Brandon that I was on the phone with when you got in the car. Told him about you this morning. I was actually talking about you. And just the things that you've been through and the story that you have, and then hearing your story. It's one of those things where it's like, you're like, how the fuck could somebody go through that and be alive? And then, how can someone go through that and then I'm bitching about my life? Like, you've made, like, literally knowing you for the past month has made me realize that I could, like, I don't have shit to complain about. And I could be in a lot worse. So,
we all could be, man.
Without continuing on to banter, because I'll just keep going, welcome.
Keep going,
Welcome to Semper Sometimes, man, and tell the guests who the hell is Scotty? Who is Scotty?
Yeah, so that's different for a lot of people. I'm Scott. I'm 30. I was in the Marines from 2009 to 2013. I did 2 deployments as a rifleman with 1-8 Charlie Company, both to the northern parts of Helmand Province. Got out and went back home. Went to school for a little bit. I was a volunteer fireman. Did the first aid stuff for a bit, and that was really my path. I wanted to be a full-time firefighter, and then all the stomach stuff kicked in, and we'll get into that more. But I had pretty bad stomach issues getting out, and they got only worse and worse. And eventually, I went into septic shock, and I woke up without my legs below my knee, both of them, and no vision in my right eye, and like 80%. Well, at the time, no vision in my left eye, and some's come back. So. It's a complicated question.
Yeah. And that's why I love the question, because it's so complicated. But and it's like you said before, everybody's gonna, if you ask anybody, hey, who is this guy? Everybody's gonna have their own interpretation of it. But realistically, the only interpretation that matters is your own. Yeah. And that's why I asked that question, because
around you.
Yeah, because we as people want to be a certain person, but sometimes we don't actually come off like that. And, a lot of times we have the best interest in mind, and we just, screw the pooch, if that's a good term or not. But, so you joined the Marine Corps. Why did you join the Marine Corps? You joined the Marine Corps at literally the same exact time as me.
Yeah.
So when did you join? When were you a poolee?
On my 17th birthday, man.
So when's your birthday?
August 11th. It was 2008.
Okay.
So
So you joined the year before I did.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
called my recruiter when I was 16 the day before, and I was like, hey, man, I turned 17 tomorrow. I want to join. He's like, you got to bring your parents and stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get my license, and I'll be right there. It was just, it's all I ever wanted to do.
Shit. Who was your recruiter?
Rivera.
Oh.
Jesus Rivera.
My man.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I ran into him in Afghanistan. I was like, what the
Oh yeah,
fuck
remember
did you do to
said
me,
that.
man?
Dude, did I tell you in the last episode, or since we've been bullshitting, did I tell you about how I got arrested and how I had to call Rivera?
No.
So
No,
the Marine Corps knows this, so I'm not, not throwing myself under the bus. So I was hanging out with my boy Pashota, the one that was like, hey, you gotta follow him. We're hanging out in Cherry Tree in Middletown. And it's just like this little development, and we were all hanging out behind in the back. There's like a little basketball court in the complex, and we would always chill there and drink there and shit. And all of my friends were 17. I was the only one that was 18, and we're all hanging out, and we would hide in the back of the basketball court. There is like a little creek, and that's where we would chill. And we were all chilling there drinking, and my buddy Richie at the time, and Fitz. They were a little younger than us. They were just bullshitting in the middle of the basketball court, like in broad daylight, but it was nighttime. But like where like you could clearly like visibly.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all like, bro, get away from there, like come chill in the back where no one can see us. And the two of them are standing there, and all of a sudden this dude walks by with a golden retriever. And Richie's like, yo, it's the cops. And he starts running, and I'm like, bro, it's just some dude walking his dog. Like, shut up, it's not the cops. And all of a sudden, no lie, we start running down Richie starts running past us down the creek. And all of a sudden, lights flash. And then from where the guy was, he actually was a cop. He was undercover, and he has a flashlight. And we're literally surrounded by this group of freaking cops, right? And it's like, bro, and I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm like, bro, the fact that people are literally causing a scene over drunk kids,
wild, right?
I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And I never thought this would happen because I just moved here from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, this is ridiculous that New Jersey is literally having their force on a manhunt because people are underage drinking.
Else happening, man.
So we start booking it. We're running through people's backyards. We're freaking hopping fences. And we think we get away from them. And my boy Ben, and we all stop right on the edge of Palmer Avenue. And my boy Ben stops, and he's like, yo, we lost him. Anybody got a cigarette? So we all pull out cigarettes, and we just start smoking cigarettes. And then, And then all of a sudden, someone opens their house window. Why the hell? What the hell's going on? Why are you in my backyard? And the cops, they literally surround us, and here we are. Now we're getting arrested. So I get cuffs put on me. Never been arrested in my life.
I'm in the tap.
Yeah, so I get cuffs put on me. And as I'm getting put into the back of the cop car, I look at the cop, and I'm like, bro, this shit would never happen in Brooklyn. And my boy Fitz is like, you're right. And the cop goes, you're right. And now I'm in the back of the cop car. I have an old Motorola flip phone. I pull it out of my back pocket, and I put my phone on speaker behind my back. And I call, and I could remember how to like touch the buttons to get to Rivera.
Yeah.
And I tried calling. I don't know why I didn't call Tice, but I just called Rivera. So I called Rivera, and because Tice was my recruiter, not Rivera. So I called Rivera, and I'm like, he's like, Bennett, why the fuck are you calling me at 2:30 in the morning? I was like, because I'm going to jail and I'm in the back of a cop car right now.
He's putting his little nerdy ass
mind
glasses
you,
on, wiping
now
his
mind
eyes.
you, the cop is driving the car like, yo, who the fuck are you on the phone with? Hang that up. And I'm like, my recruiter. He goes, you're a recruiter? I'm like, yeah, I'm on the phone with my recruiter. I'm supposed to join them. I'm supposed to leave for boot camp next month. And he goes, he doesn't say nothing. He goes, hang up the phone. So we get to the precinct. They put me in my own room. And they put the rest of my friends in a jail cell because I'm the only one that's 18. I can't be with them. So they put me in the other room, and they put my phone and all my belongings in a manila envelope, and the manila envelope starts vibrating. And it's Rivera calling back. So the cop's like, who's this number? I was like, it's my recruiter. He goes, and then it's another person. So I explain it again. He goes like, all right. So he answers the phone. And he goes, hello? He goes, this is so-and-so with Middletown Police Department. And Rivera's like, listen, I don't know what I gotta do, but I need that kid to not go to jail. He was like, that kid's not going to jail. He's like, listen, if you're gonna charge him, but I need you to somehow get him the quickest court date. And listen, I know he fucked up, He'll never do it again. I'll make sure of it.
We're
I'll
sending him overseas.
He's like, I'll destroy him on Monday at PT. But he's like, listen, I need that kid to be good. So, and mind you, this is like what I understand. I didn't hear the whole conversation over the phone. I'm not in the ear, but whatever. So then the dude's like, listen, get out of here. He goes, get out of here. He's like, you're gonna have a court date of Wednesday. This is Saturday. He's like, you're gonna have a court date of Wednesday. Mind you, all the rest of my friends waited like 6-7 months to get a court date. I got mine literally the same week. So I get mine the same week, and I go to the courthouse. And well, actually, before even that happens, I walk out. I call my boy Pashota's in the car, literally outside in the parking lot, waiting for me to get picked up. And then I didn't know this until just recently. I was at a wedding, and Pashota tells me, he's like, "Bro, did you know that we ran into the police department saying we need our friends? You need to give us back our friends." And they were like, "Well, the only one we have is this 18-year-old, and that's the only one we can give you because he's 18." And he was like, "Okay, I'll take him, but he's not the one I want." So he ended up, him and my boy Dylan were outside waiting for me to get out. So then a couple days later, I go to court, and back then, I don't, like now I could never have done this, but back then they came to court with me, the recruiter in his dress blues, and he ended up talking to the prosecutor. And like apparently I was supposed to get some fine of like $2,000 of like all these fees and shit. Yeah. All I had to pay was $100, and my dad paid it. And I remember they brought me into the prosecutor's office, and the guy was like, "Am I ever gonna see you here again?" And I was like, "No, sir. I will never get arrested again." I was like, "I'm sorry. I was being dumb. It'll never happen again." And he was like, "Okay." And then everything was Scott. And I remember, dude, Rivera, Master Gunny Pat, bro, yeah. He destroyed me. He destroyed me because he was the staff in CUSC at the time. But yeah, man, that was crazy. So why did you? I know you said that it was something that you always wanted to do, but what was it about it? Did you have family in it? Why did you want to be a Marine?
It must have been family, but like my parents said when I was like super young, we're walking on the boardwalk, and I just turned back and I was like, I want to be a Marine. They're like, where the fuck did that come from? But my uncles, 2 uncles, my cousin were Marines. Like, my uncle's basement was all just Semper Fi'd out. Yeah. So I grew up around that. And then, I don't know. I love dressing up in camo and playing in the woods. That was my shit as a kid. And no shame, dude. I loved it. So that was really the only reasonable path for me.
So you call Rivera, you start your journey.
Yeah.
He must have been bugging. Like, wait, because you never get those calls as a recruiter. Oh, you're grinding
like,
every day.
I'm coming in tomorrow. He didn't even know. I was never on his radar because I was not 17 yet. Like, there was
where'd you go to school? Howell?
Neptune.
You went to Neptune?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Neptune. Yeah, so I joined DEP. I, DEP'd in, went through senior year, and then left, like, middle of July. It's like 3 weeks after graduation.
So you were a poolee the whole year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just about. Like, 11 months I spent as a poolee. And then, went to boot camp in July. Got the 3rd Battalion, but I got recycled because I had pneumonia and rhabdomyolysis. So I was like in the hospital for like a week, and then a rehab platoon for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I got pushed to 2nd Battalion, Fox Company, where I graduated. Went to SOI. That was fun. It was cold as hell, dude. It was fucking not fun. It was super cold, but I loved every second of it because that's when you start to, like, at least for me, like, I always wanted to be like infantry. Like, that was all I could ever think of. Mm-hmm. So when I got to SOI, like, I was out in the woods. I was shooting guns. It was fucking awesome. I loved every second of it. Yeah. And then hit the fleet running, man. We got to the fleet in February. We knew probably in January where we were going. We were told 1-8. And we were told then that we were going to be deploying by September. So it was like, oh, all right, let's go. Got there. They were at the rifle range. They came back, and then I think like we had a 72, and then freaking Monday or Tuesday, right to the field, started it up. Fire team maneuver, squad maneuver, platoon. Just
wow,
full workup.
So before you got even into that, how was just How is it being a infantry Marine? I feel like I don't know that it is, but I feel like even being a Marine Staff Sergeant, being in the Marine Corps for 12 years, I feel like the life of an infantryman is probably a lot different than the average Marine.
I think it is, dude. It's its own beast. Like it's a from some guys I've talked to, it's a completely different Marine Corps because they're like, oh yeah, going to the field was fun, and I was like, no, fuck, it wasn't. Like, me and my boy did the math a couple months ago, and if I was in the battalion from February of 2010 until January of 2013 with 2 deployments, and we probably spent more time living outside than I did in the barracks.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was like a lot of just, hey, everything's on your back, let's go. But that it was a cool lifestyle for being 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I met some of the smartest guys in the entire world, like hands down, some dudes that were fucking super intelligent. Like, my machine gunner was a fucking graduate from Trinity. Like, wrestler, like, and he's like, I want to go become a Lance Corporal in the Marines and carry around a machine gun and edit Kissinger books at a remote outpost in Afghanistan. Like, and then I met some of the dumbest people in my entire life, too.
Yeah.
But, like, tactically, they were sweet. You know what I mean? Just sometimes you're like, what's up with you, man? Like, but, man, like, it's such a wild, it's the whole country's combined into one, man. And,
dude, it really is, man. And that's what I love about the Marine Corps, man, is number one, the camaraderie. Yeah. And the fact that you're the shared misery, sharing being in the suck, and then on top of that, putting people that you would never ever come across in your lifetime.
Fuck no. Dude.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, you know, like when the whole when like last year, when I think it was last year, like when the whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on, and all, like, everybody was talking about racism. You know, I was just like, dude, I don't see that. Like, I'm sure that it still happens out in the world in some places, but being in the Marine Corps, dude, we're all the same. You know, like I have friends of every color, creed, ethnicity.
Didn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You know, and that was something that I recently talked about in one of my episodes. Was that those things don't matter. Like, you shouldn't identify as like, oh, I'm an African American Marine, or I'm a Italian Marine. Like, no, you're a Marine.
We're all Marines.
Like, and that's what should matter. And I'm just bringing that up. It's just like, you know, people, you know, you meet people from Alabama, you meet people from freaking Kentucky, and you all become best friends. And it's like, dude, but that's also the thing that I feel like sucks. And I was talking about this to somebody the other day, because you get off of active duty and you were surrounded by all these people.
And then you're alone.
And then you're back in Howell, and all of those people that you joined the Marine Corps with, that got, either they went and stayed in the Marine Corps and they went to other places, or they got out. Like, one of my buddies, he lives in Nebraska. I still talk to him over Facebook, but I haven't seen the man in 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, but if we saw each other tomorrow, it would be like we've seen each other every day.
Yeah, man.
You know, but it's crazy that I feel like, and I say only in the Marine Corps, but I know that's not true. I know that, you know,
it's
other branches have the same thing.
It's in the fire department. It's in the police department.
Yeah.
But there's something special with Marines, man.
100%. And I even know that because, like, doing this podcast, I've done podcasts with different veterans of different branches, and I've noticed there's a difference between a conversation between a veteran and a civilian. There's a difference between a Marine to Marine, and there's a difference between Marine to other veteran. Absolutely. Like, there are 3 different conversations and types of conversations. It's weird. It's a relatability, I guess. It's like the shared misery, but they've had a different type of shared misery.
Well, we're a fucking cult, dude.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, to put it in simplistic terms, the Marine Corps is a cult.
Yeah. So how was, before we get into the deployments?
Yeah.
How was your time as just a Lance Corporal before you got into the deployment?
Fucking sucked, dude. Being a boot's the worst thing in the entire world. I fucking hated it. So, like, when I got to the fleet, I was like, oh, dude, I'm shit hot. I'm a 0311. I know what I'm doing. And my first field op, I did not know what the fuck I was doing. So, like, every single day that we were training, I was scared for my life because I knew I thought I was going to get hazed because I thought I was going to fuck up. Mm-hmm. And luckily, I don't think I fucked up as much as I think I do in my own head.
So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I battle with this every day. Not every day, but it's a conversation that I battle with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before I even say this, for the listeners out there, I'm not advocating for hazing. I'm asking a conversation. We're having a I feel like I have to throw that out there. Do you feel that repercussions and you feeling that way attributed you to your safety and you being well equipped in Afghanistan
not just
and
my
Iraq,
safety, but the safety
or
of my entire fucking
yeah,
squad. Yeah.
Like, do you think that those repercussions and that type of leadership and that type of teaching?
Yeah, no, you need to be hazed. Yeah, no, you need to be hazed. Like, my first firefight, my lance corporal said to do. My team leader said to do something. We're in a fucking engagement. I lance corporal and I maneuvered immediately to where he told me to. And it was only because I had a fucking fear of him instilled in me, right? Like, a fear, but also he's not gonna let anything happen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need that. Sometimes it goes too far, man. Like, you can't tape motherfuckers between mattresses and throw them off third deck. Can't do that.
Yeah.
You know? But if someone's doing something, like if you're clearing a room and he keeps going he keeps doing the wrong thing, sometimes you have to maneuver somebody into the right position. You know what I mean? You have to teach them lessons where they're going to remember it in combat, because guess what? If you go left when you should have went right,
yeah,
it's going to be a bad fucking day.
Okay, so we can agree on that. Definitely you shouldn't be getting taped to freaking bulkheads, and you shouldn't be getting taped to
it goes too
barracks
far
things.
sometimes. Absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
but there needs to be a level of
repercussions.
Reinforcing
training. Like,
yeah.
I understand, like, some hazing. Like, we got hazed a lot with alcohol. Like,
yeah,
hey,
that's not.
You have to drink this boot, and it was like, joke's on you, dude. I'm 19. I can't buy alcohol. I'll chug the boot.
Yeah.
But, like, it never got to the point of alcohol poisoning. Like, you have to have maturity with it. So I don't know, man. It's a fine line.
Yeah. And I think that's what you said, and that's when the conversation comes up. That's the conversation that comes up. Is like, well, if there has to be a fine line, then it shouldn't be there at all. Okay, but then it's like parenting. You know, some people don't think that you should hit your kids, but some people think you shouldn't beat your kids.
Yeah, some
okay,
people
well, there's a difference between hitting and beating. Yeah. Like, you know, and that's the thing is, like, because like we had this conversation before, but, you know, like me, I was never hazed, but I had the fear of God instilled into me by my corporal. Like, I knew that, you know, and again, I don't see it as hazing. You know, like, I remember I was late to PT one morning, and I was my Corporal Lignal, now Sergeant Lignal, but got out. He said, better get out of formation. So I got out of formation, and he just literally just did push-ups with me for, like, I don't know how long, until I couldn't feel my face, and I fell on the ground. And, you know, some people might constitute as hazing, but no, I fucked up, and the punishment was, here, you're going to go and do these push-ups until you can't do any more.
And if you're a reasonable Marine, you don't make that mistake again.
Yeah, and then you learn from it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you...
It helped me.
Yeah.
It helped me. Yeah.
So now, how did it help you?
So for one, we got fucked up. Woke up to getting, like, dragged out of my sleeping bag, being told I fell asleep on fire watch. This was in North Virginia, and I was like, I don't think I fell asleep. I don't remember waking up. Dragged out. Me and this other kid got ripped to shreds in thorn bushes, just doing calisthenics in thorn bushes. And some guys from the platoon were watching us through night vision. They said it looked fun. Dude, we got tore up. It was rough. It sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I never fell asleep on post. I might have nodded once or twice on post too, man, but I never fell asleep on post because I remembered how fucking bad I got beat, and I remembered how much shame I felt. And then literally, like, a year later, my old corpsman's like, hey man, remember that time in Pickett? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I fell asleep on post and I didn't want to get fucked up, so I blamed you guys. And I was like, thanks, bro. Yo. But hey, dude, maybe that instilled something in me where I nodded off twice on post too, right?
And you knew it wasn't you, but you just took it.
I didn't know it wasn't me, but I was getting dragged out of my bag anyway.
But you felt like it wasn't you.
Sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up and take it, bro.
Yeah.
You just gotta shut. Hey, what? If I fuck up, or if the guy next to me fucks up, they don't know who fucked up. Guess what? We both get fucked up.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time though, it's also just a topic of integrity as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, I had this happen when I was at corporal's course. I was at corporal's course, a year. I don't even know how long ago it was, but like probably 2015, maybe even earlier than that. And I'll never forget it. We were standing outside, sitting outside at the smoke pit. And we were doing our 2-week. It was a 2-week corporal's course because reservists only do 2 weeks. We don't do a month long. So we were doing a 2-week corporal's course, and me and my buddy, he was one of the instructors, and we were sitting outside having a cigarette, and the Army National Guard was in formation right in front of us. Mm-hmm. And there was this girl who was very short and very stout, And the idea that she was in the military period was kind of like, what the hell?
It's like a fire hydrant.
So my buddy decides that he's going to pull out his iPhone and take a picture of her.
Nice.
But he didn't realize that, number one, it was nighttime and that he had the flash on.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So the flash goes off and he puts the phone in his pocket. So, thinking nothing of it, I go back to my barracks room, go upstairs, and maybe like 5 minutes later, all 88 of us are getting called outside the formation. And they're flipping out. And my buddy, who was one of the other instructors, Sergeant New, was standing in front of the formation. And he's like, somebody's going to let us know who took this effing picture. And I'm like, wait a minute. So the dude who's an instructor, who's a sergeant, isn't going to come out and tell you guys that it was him? So I was like, bro, I'm not a rat. But I wasn't about to let 88 corporals get in trouble for something that somebody literally could fess up to.
I would. I fucking hate NCO.
So I went up to. So I fell out of formation. I went over to the other sergeant, and I was like, "Hey, sergeant," I was like, "Listen, man," I was like, "Sorry, I know I should be in formation right now, but I was like, so Sergeant so and so took that photo, and it's in this camera gallery right now. Like, if you fall this platoon out, you're gonna go and you're gonna find that photo." And sure enough, they fall the platoon out. They find the photo. They make him go and apologize to everybody and apologize. And it was just, and the reason why I bring this up is because sometimes I get that there's bro code. I get we have this thing called Blue Falcon in the Marine Corps. But sometimes you have to have integrity and be like, you know what? I fucked up. It was me. Because then people are taking your fault. Now, mind you, you learned something from that story. You learned something. But at the end of the day, maybe that corpsman should have been the one to learn something. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's a level of, and that's where it comes to.
That
it's
corpsman
like,
is way more badass than the He went Larsoc and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's legit, yeah.
That's sick.
He wasn't a boot, so they wouldn't have hazed him.
Yeah.
So I think he also thought it'd be funny to watch us get fucked up. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it, but
he was a salty ass doc, dude.
So you did 2 deployments.
Yeah.
So how was that? How was your deployment? How was deploying as infantry? How was that? What experience did you gain from that?
Yeah, it was tight, man. The first deployment was fucking awesome. The second one we'll go into. The first one was awesome though. We did village stability operations in southern Nowzad. It was just my platoon with attachments. And we were at our own little patrol base. Nobody fucking bothered us. It was pristine, man. We had a patrol base, about 45 guys, maybe a little bit more. And of that, so that was our whole AO. And then 9 guys were always at a vehicle control point that we held with the Afghan army and police. In our compound, we lived with the police and the army. They were on either side of us. So we ate with them pretty regularly. We'd go out on patrol with them all the time. They would go out on their own patrols. They would do their own shit. And we worked together with them. For JAROA, government of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, blah blah blah. But it was a good experience, man. Like it was essentially like a combined action platoon from Vietnam, or what like a special forces team is supposed to do. Except we didn't really train the army and police as intensively as they would. So we were kind of just in the village for stability. Couple gunfights. Almost got rocked. Oh, I did get rocked, but almost ended up fucked by a 155 shell. It was buried too deep. Yeah, we all got really lucky with that, man. Really fucking lucky. But that was the first time they introduced RCIEDs into the AO, so we had that threat instead of just pressure plates. Taliban was to our west and our south, so we had to walk a little bit to pick a fight. But first got there, no women. By the time we left, women were walking by themselves down to the bazaar to get food. So open to school. We saw a change in our small time there.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was nice. It was in Taliban hands within 2 years. But hey, we fucking tried, right?
Yeah. How does it, like, can you, I think back to my time in Afghanistan, and I know you can't see it, but I have I got it from Bastion. You remember, was Bastion there when you were there?
Yeah.
So Bastion, I got this.
You got that right after me.
This glass tea. It's a marble tea set that I would. Yeah.
Yeah, throw against the wall.
So it's all those cups.
Yeah.
And I had it in my house, but I couldn't. It was just sitting there. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put it on my coffee table right where the podcast is, because it's just been sitting there for 10 years.
Ditch the chairs. We'll fucking duck squat and jump high, dude.
But
Squat around.
So that was one of the things I wanted to ask you was, like, can you visualize? Can you remember being there?
Oh,
like,
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, I remember. Like, dude, if someone's burning garbage, I'm like, oof, I smell it. You know what I mean? Like, it's I love that town, dude. Me and Mona buddies talk about it. If I could move there safely, I fucking would.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It was a cool place, man. Like, it was just settled between these men. I don't know. It was a cool spot. I really liked it there.
Where was this again?
It was Southern Nowzad.
Okay.
So where you would pass through
to go to Edinburgh.
The pass to go to Eddie. Yeah, we were that village right there.
I remember driving through that village
it was
all
a cool
the
place,
time.
man.
Yeah, dude, it was.
That white building was the school.
Yep.
And our patrol base was right next to it. Yeah, so it was a tight spot, and like I said, we could go out and do what we wanted. You know, we had a huge AO, and we had a couple guys that wanted to play, so we'd go out frequently. Always we were running like 3 days on patrol cycle, and then 3 days post, 3 days post, 3 days VCP. While you were on post, the patrol base, you were running QRF.
So when you guys go on patrols, how long is the average patrol? Like how?
It all depended, man. So we try to switch it up. You don't want to make a pattern, right?
Yeah.
So some days we would, some days we do 3 patrols just throughout the Dahana area, which was our town. You know, just presence patrols, and then sometimes you do a quick morning patrol through the village, come back, load down, and then you head west to see if anybody wanted to play. Dude, some patrols were fucking 14, 20 clicks. Some patrols were overnight. Some patrols were an hour. Some patrols, most were about, I'd say 2 to 4 hours most, and we'd run at least one a day. But we try to run 2 to 3 a day if we could. Run through the night. Just trying to keep them off balance, not let them know where we'd be next. But the VCP was kind of a hindrance towards the end of the deployment. So before you guys got there was when you were driving through, there was no VCP there. It was all bulldozed.
Yeah.
But we had men there. We had 9 guys at all times. So we brought them down. Then we were able to run 2 patrols at once. So we were really able to throw the enemy off balance and kind of have them not know where we were coming from.
Yeah.
So it did a little bit more for village stability.
And then so after that deployment, you came back for a little while and then went back again.
Yeah, came back we got back in March, late March of 2011, and we were back in Afghanistan early January 2012. So
wait a minute, when did you get there?
I got there in...
So you literally left right when I got there.
Yeah.
Because I got there March 17th of 2011.
Yeah.
So you were leaving, we were getting there.
March 17th, we were sitting at the Chow Hall drinking near beer for St. Patrick's Day.
Nice.
At midnight.
Bro, that was the one thing that always pissed me off, man, is I turned 21 the day on my flight home in Germany, and I couldn't have a beer. I was like, bro, this is the only time I'll probably ever be in Germany.
That's rough.
And you're telling me that today, on my 21st birthday, I can't have a beer.
That is rough.
Like, really, sir? Like, really? And then we had to fly home, and they stopped us. We flew from Afghan to Kyrgyzstan. And then from Kyrgyzstan, for whatever reason, they flew us to frickin' Fort Dix, New Jersey. And we had to then go to Lejeune. So I was back in New Jersey. My wife was an hour away, and I knew I couldn't see her for another 2 to 3 weeks. And I was like, what the fuck? Because then we had to go back and go through all like the reintegration stuff, and we had to go through all the classes.
To our families. They're like,
no, so we're reservists. Yeah, so we had to. We were still We were still detached to the active duty guys. So we had to go back to Lejeune, demobilize, go through reaccession classes, how to react back to civilian life.
We had to do that before leave, but like that night they were like,
no, they gave us literally, well, and we also had to check out. We had to like give back all of our gear and give back our rooms, and like, so it was like 2 weeks before we could go back. Sucks. Yeah, dude, it was trash. But like, you know, for me though, like I remember, and my wife still tells people this all the time, like, dude, the day I got home and I got off the bus, I was like, I would go back tomorrow. Like I would go back. And so my question for you, for listeners who aren't or have never been deployed, what's the mentality or the psyche behind being there? Like, if you can think back to it, like, were you always on guard? Were you, like, not thinking about home? Were you thinking about home? Like, what would you say?
Always on guard, for sure. First deployment, like, dude, I recently talked to my old platoon commander, and I was like, how old were you? He's like, I was 25. And I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, what'd you think out there? He goes, man, sometimes I laid in my rack and I wondered if anybody else knew I was out here with a fucking platoon of Marines. You know what I mean? So, like, at some point, though, there was no guard. It was like, I'd go to the Afghan army compound to eat, and I didn't have a fucking rifle on me.
Yeah.
It was just like, fuck it, dude. Like, every day's probably not going to go well, so fuck it now, right?
Yeah.
But that was before a lot of the green on blues. So, second deployment. So, first deployment, too, I also didn't think I'd fucking make it. I was like, I'll probably get killed. I also didn't know if I'd get killed or if I'd lose my legs. Like, weirdly enough, I would always, like, put my boots on in the morning and be like, it was a good run, boys. And everything worked out, man. You know, the second deployment, we were slated to go to Sangin. So when I was on my first deployment, the push through Sangin with 3-5 Dark Horse was happening. And those boys fucking earned their reputation. They fought hard as fuck. Them and everybody after them, man. By the time I got to Sangin, there was nothing. Like, but on the way there, I was like, I'm fucking dying, dude. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to Sangin. What the fuck are we? You know, so there was a little bit less, like, you felt invincible because you finished the deployment, but at the same time in my head, I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I've been watching YouTube videos. I've been keeping up with shit.
Well, what was the time frame between the two deployments? Like, dude, like 6 months?
9 months?
Yeah.
8-9 months.
How did it feel coming back, like, being that senior Lance Corporal, that salt dog? Like, did you feel a difference between, because now you join the Marine Corps, you come in as a boot, then you go on this deployment, now you come back.
I felt like I knew everything.
Yeah.
And I actually, not knew everything like a smartass, but like, I actually felt comfortable in my job. Mm-hmm. So I had the radio for the squad, and then me and Merck split it for the platoon. So I had like extra duties while I was there, and I kind of just, being the RO, I didn't have to have leadership, obviously, but I was always with the squad leader. I was always with the team leader. I was always with the platoon commander. So I got to actually see, oh, this is why we do this. This is what this does. This is, you know what I mean? Like, I was more in tune with the infantry squad. So I fucking loved it, man. Like, there was times where, you know, our teams are split. They're in contact. We're in contact. My lieutenant's focusing on maneuvering us. My platoon, my squad leader's over here. He can't relay back to the FOB. So now I'm fucking coordinating QRF, trying to understand just the experience being with an awesome squad leader and awesome platoon commander is I get to know them and I get to know what they want to do. Yeah. So I had a little bit more responsibility. And that was awesome, man. Like, I was so happy we never had a mass CAS because I was like number 4 on the list. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, if anything happens to me, it goes to LT. If anything happens to LT, it goes to, you know, first team leader. If I have anything second, and then it goes to Nokes. I'm like, please don't go to Nokes. Please don't go to Nokes. You know what I mean? Like, well, we were all good, man.
Yeah. And that's something that I wanna eventually do an episode on, because like my lieutenant, he was, I don't know, I gotta ask him, but he was probably the same age, like 25, 24.
Yeah, dude, 24,
like a young dude. And it's crazy because I didn't know. He might have been 24. He might have been 20. He might have turned 25. Yeah, I don't know how old he was. But, you know, I did an episode prior with Lieutenant Colonel, and one of the things that we talked about was the Bernal leadership, and I can only imagine how it feels being like it's different when you're like a lieutenant colonel, you're a major, like, dude, you've been in the Marine Corps long enough, but when you're a brand new lieutenant going on convoy ops, going out there,
dude, he went
and it's like, and we had like 30 people in each one of our platoons, so like you gotta think about it, this one guy literally has 30 people, their lives on his hands. He's making calls. He's making decisions. Yeah, of course, he has his senior NCOs to go to, but realistically, that guy probably feels really alone.
Oh, like, yeah, man. And let me just give a quick shout-out to now Major Vince Thompson. He's in charge of recruiting somewhere down south. I don't want to give out too much info. You can find him. Fucking savage, man. Awesome, dude. He went on almost every single patrol. Like, I was there when he got yelled at on the phone to stop patrolling so much, because he was on almost every single one. Wow. And they were like, dude, slow down. Everybody knows who you are. Slow. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And he was a great guy. Yeah. Love him to death. I hope he gets a battalion one day, you know, and just that's the kind of guy he was, man. Just if his men were going out, he was going out. And I'm sure some of those times he looked at this, because we had some ballsy squad leaders, man. I'm sure he looked at them and went, we're going where? Okay, yeah, I'll be right back. You know, I guarantee you, he took a step away. I went, what the fuck is my sergeant's doing? Because we had go-getters, man.
Yeah.
You know, Sergeant Steinkamp, go-getter. Sergeant Collins, go-getter, man. Like, you know, so I was around great guys to learn from. So when we were getting ready to flow into the second deployment, man, I felt like I knew what I was doing. I became a team leader. Was not the best team leader. I could be 100% certain about that. I might have been the worst team leader if I'm realistically ranking myself. Worst or second to worst. I don't even know who the worst would be. So I'm definitely down there. But I was privileged, man. I had a team. Platoon went through some stuff. Getting ready for the deployment where some of our guys had to move away due to some allegations and stuff. But all together, right before deployment, we were pumped, man. We had a good solid unit, man. Great squad leaders.
So did a lot of the guys that you deployed with go with you on the second deployment?
All of my peers, so everybody all my boot drops, we all deployed together again, which was, I mean, what kind of camaraderie is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we were boots for our first deployment. Now we're all team leaders.
That's so sick.
And we were deploying with 2 squad leaders that also had deployed. That was their third deployment together.
Yeah.
And this was their second deployment with us. So Sergeant Steinkamp, like, he was second squad leader for my first deployment, and then he was first squad leader for the second. So that was his third deployment. He had been to 8th and I. He had done Yankee White. Like, he was shit hot, super aggressive, well calculated tactician. Like,
oh wow,
in every way, he's a fucking awesome guy. So that's a great senior NCO right there. Mm-hmm. And then Corporal Konis, man, he was great infantry guy. You know, fucking wild as you can believe for infantry. Like, just off duty, you were like, what the fuck's Konis doing? Like, just awesome.
Well, I think that's the best part about it, man. Is like, man, knowing people who can be off the wall but then be professionally.
And once you throw flack on them, that
yeah.
Dude, it's like a superhero cape, bro.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, you're ringing them in at night, and you're like, stop. And the next morning, dude, once they get the Kevlar on, they're like, hey, you here, let's fucking go. And it's like, how, like, dude, Spartans, man.
Yeah.
Like, legends in their own right.
Yeah.
You know, so we were pretty confident going in that, and then right before we deployed, they gave us the breakdown because they needed mobile sections, and they needed this, and they needed that. So I got split from the platoon, and I got sent over to mobile section.
How old were you at this time?
20.
So one of the things that I just want to call attention to is, like, the fact that, like, granted, I'm in the Marine Corps, and I've been in the Marine Corps for 12 years. Something that I want people to realize, and that I'm just sitting here thinking about, is that, like, Sergeant Steinkamp and Corporal Konis, how old are they at this time?
25 and like 23.
Like, the fact that 25 and 23-year-old men are doing this stuff is crazy. And then to think about, like, back in the day when you had people, like, I was talking to one of the guys the guy that I was in the car with on the phone, Brandon, from IM Subs. His grandfather, I think he had said in our episode that his grandfather was 15 and forged his documents saying that he was 17 to go to the war.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah, those guys
and apparently a lot of people did that.
If I could have done that, dude, I would have been a fucking Ramon.
But it's crazy. It's just crazy to think about how, like, there were people in war doing all these crazy things at these years, like, at these ages, and yet there's people, and I get it, not everybody's gonna serve. I understand that, but, like,
and even everybody that serves, not everybody gets to go to war.
Yeah,
and it's not their fault, man.
Like, where I'm going with this, and
sorry,
no, you're good, and we'll get to that. But what I'm going with is that, like, I get annoyed when I ask people, "Hey, man, what do you do?" Or, "Hey, man, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Or, "What do you want to do with your life?" And they're like, "I have no idea." And it's like, or you meet people who are 30 years old, 40 years old, and they're content with being a ShopRite attendant. And again, like, so here's an argument that I've had a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. So a couple of months ago, probably about 6 months now, I read the book. Actually, yeah, 6 months. I read the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Who has a lobotomy. Keep going.
So I read the book, and I gave the book to my little brother. My little brother he works at ShopRite, and he's had dreams, had aspirations. For whatever reason, those are all gone, and he's just quit on himself, and now he just works at ShopRite.
Yeah.
And I gave him the book to maybe inspire him,
try to
or
push him away.
something like that. Because I hate the fact that he has become what he's become. He's overweight. He doesn't have self-confidence. He, just isn't who he could be. He's not taking his potential to where it could be. And I had this conversation that we're having right now with my sister. And my sister goes, well, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to be a ShopRite attendant. And I'm like, but why are you allowing yourself to be that person? You were born, I don't believe that anyone was born to just go and push carts. You know what I mean? And to think that there's people out there who've done crazy things like we're talking about. We've lived among gods. We've lived among people like warriors and modern day Spartans. And then to think that there's people who have the ability to do so much more, but don't give themselves the credit. And again, that's why I wanted to have you here, because you're an inspiration for somebody who's gone through what you've gone through. And then there's people who complain about what they're going through. It's like, dude, you're not going through a fraction of what other people have gone through. But then it's subjective, and
exactly.
I get that, and I understand that, and that's something that I've learned.
I can get into it later, but I had worse days when I had my legs and my vision. Vision than I do now, and that's something we'll go into later. A little deep dive, but we all have our part that we play in society, and to me, like, if you're stocking a shelf at ShopRite and you are happy with what you're doing and who you are, there's fucking nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it and you want to do more, then you should have tried it. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that, but I just what I'm saying though is I feel like anybody who's in those shoes has so much more to give. And again, I don't know their life. I'm not living their life, but I just feel like we live among these people at young ages who do these great things, and then it's like, because we talk about, other people talk about
ordinary people placed in extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the case for a lot of it, and a lot of these circumstances, military-wise, obviously you put yourself into.
Yeah.
But not. I mean, how many guys would have received a Medal of Honor? They just never have been in a battle like Dakota Meyer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's stuff I think about like that all the time, because I know guys that, dude, probably, you know what I mean? Like, they would easily have, no offense to Dakota, but I know guys personally where I'm like, dude, they would have fucking stolen a Humvee and strapped it with explosives and killed everybody in that village. You know what I mean? Like, but they weren't put in that situation, so maybe it's just they haven't had the opportunity to get to the next level yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah. But, and that's also to say that I could be further than I am, and I'm not.
Yeah, hey, we all can, man. We could all be further than we are.
I guess what I'm saying is that, like, I'm inspired by the fact that when you hear these stories, you would never think it was someone who was 19 or 18 years old. No. You would never believe that.
Dakota, he wasn't even 21, man.
Oh, wow.
I think he might have just been 21, but that's... You hear that story, and you're like, fuck, brother. Yeah. Like, savage. Dude,
and that's why I get so angry when life is happening the way it happens, because it's like, bro, there's people out there right now that are 19, 20 years old doing God's work, and no one cares about it, and it's just So getting back to the whole reason why we're here, so your second deployment, how did that end? How did it go?
It went slow at first, man. It went real slow at first. Company was assigned. So like I said, I got sent to the driving section. I drove lead vehicle for my section. We had two mobile sections. We were at FOB Alcatraz in Sangin, right on 611. 2 platoons in the green zone. Battalion was up north in the Kajaki district. And then our command was under somebody in 7th Marines to the south at FOB Jackson. So I just drove 611 for 2 or 3 months. Didn't see a fucking thing. I think we arrested one dude that had an AK that we spotted on a blimp. Went out to interrogate one IED. I think it came back unfounded. So, real quick, if anybody's listening from 3-5, 2-5, 1-5, 1-6, 2-3, whoever the fuck was in saying, you guys, God fucking bless you. You changed that place. I don't know what you did. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it, but you fucking guys did good things. I mean that, man. Like, that district, when I was at the prior deployment, we were in the same battle space, right? So we were all under RCT2. And RCT2, RCT8, and dude, they were River City every day, man. Like, they fucking fought for every inch of that ground. And when we got there, our guys pretty much patrolled uninterrupted. So really a shout out and a testimony to those Marines. And they fought a hard fight. God bless them, man. Yeah, so we were in Saigon for a bit. Got word from regiment that they didn't need us anymore because the battle space was pretty secured. So 7th Marines filled in for us, and we started planning helo-borne operations for regiment. So did a mix of, I did some helo inserts. For them, we did like a month out in Gustan Valley, which is not really heard about. But that's where Sergeant Steinkamp with 2nd Platoon, 1st Squad, went in to clear an area, and they encountered a heavy Taliban resistance. Sergeant Steinkamp received the Silver Star. Lance Corporals Miller, Mora, and Ross received. Mora received a Navy Com. Miller and Ross received Navy VAMs, Navy Achievement Medals with V's.
Mm-hmm.
And then Perry got a Purple Heart because he fucking watched a grenade blow up. But they were in it, man. They went out, pushed into it. The enemy in that area was actually attacking tanks. Like, they fucking tried to ambush like a platoon of tanks.
Wow.
So they were a desperate hog. Like, they were entrenched. We spent day there, day in the north, clearing, and then stayed there for a little bit, pushed into the Fulad looking for. It was supposed to like the Taliban, like the Helmand hideout, like where all the leaders would go to chill in the wintertime. And we cleared that with some British guys. Again, mostly Charlie Company 2nd Platoon at the helm. I was with weapons. We were kind of just a lot of cover, a lot of spot. And I had my binos out for most of it. I wasn't even using my fucking rifle. So the company gained a little bit of notoriety during that because of Sergeant Steinkamp's actions and the whole actions of that 1st Platoon, or not 1st Platoon, 1st Squad, and 2nd Platoon in general. And then, just given more missions after that, guess what? You're going to go fucking hit a bazaar out near Iran. What the fuck are you talking about? And come out of a ditch and there's, cars and thousands of people. And we're like, well, they weren't lying, dude. It's a mobile bazaar. So we got to go to some different areas. All because we were underneath regiment, and then they wanted to run some ops up in Zamindawar, which is northwest of Kajaki, northwest of Kajaki, and northwest of Musa Kala, from what I understand. So I drove Lead Vic from Camp Leatherneck up to Fob Eddy, and then pushed out a couple days or a week later for one of the parts of Operations Jaws. It was a huge operation. Our company was all mounted. We had 3 sections, like 3 full infantry platoons in vehicles, and then each mounted platoon had a squad of infantry dismounted. So it was pretty cool, man. Helos were coming in they landed Alpha Company. Some guys from 2-5 I think came in. I don't really know what we were doing up there, but we were up there for like 3 weeks just chasing after bad guys and gathering intel. Company took our first 2 casualties. Our first 2 KIA up there. It was May 26th or 25th. I really do apologize. I have a TBI from the next day, so I really can't remember. I think it was the 26th. But we lost Doc Eric Warren and Lance Corporal Stephen Gene Sutton that day. They both got killed in 2 separate IED blasts, relatively close to each other. Next day I had an IED. Platoon pushed out to help out with recovery operations, and I kind of blanked out the rest of the op from there.
Yeah.
But came back. Also, 2 guys became double amputees. Omer and Whiteman. It was a rough day for the company, for sure. And I love those guys. I mean, they were the heart and soul of Charlie, like for real. Like Sutton, everybody loves Sutton, dude. 6'5", 6'6", big Georgia boy. And just gentle giant. I want to tell one quick story if that's cool.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
He had the mortar tube, and I can't remember fully where we were. I think it was CAX, and I can't remember if it was a Coyote or the CO overwatching him. But we're at CAX, and this is all told to me secondhand, right? Because I'm clearly running the infantry maneuvers, and he's a mortarman. And he has the round, and he's like, I'm on target. And they're like, all right, man, hold on. And he dropped it. And they're like, hey, just don't shoot that yet, because he's handheld. And they're like, hey, don't shoot that yet, man. Or don't drop it yet. Whatever it is, don't do it. We're just trying to deconflict fires. He goes, I'm going to drop it. That's what I think. I think he was holding it over. And he's like, I'm going to drop it. And they're like, hey, man, just don't drop it. Let us get to go. I'm going to drop it. And they go, all right. Hey, are we clear? And ting! Did you? I told you I was gonna drop it, man. Like, yeah, just an awesome, fucking great guy, man. Like, fucking friend to everybody. Just real genuine fucking dude.
Yeah.
And Doc Warren, I didn't know him too well. Every time I saw him, though, he had a fucking smile on his face and a head nod. So everybody loved him, man. Yeah, so we pushed out of that. Went back to Leatherneck, and then we were told we were doing another part of Operation Jaws. So I might be I might be sending out some misinfo or disinfo, but it's all around the same time that Dan Crenshaw got injured, and so like a week after that, I think the operation was already in place, but the area to the west of the Helmand River, so Sangin is to the east of the Helmand River, and obviously part of it to the west, and it bounces up to Musa Kala. It was hard to get to the west, so they decided to do some big clearing operation in support of special operations. So from what I understand, special operations was to the north, 1-7 Dog was to the south, and then Pitbull 2, which was 1-8 Bravo Company, 2nd Platoon, was supposed to insert into another area. We were coming up from the west to insert blocking positions. So nobody can come in, and then anybody trying to leave, we could kind of apprehend. And pretty much everyone trying to leave was a wounded Taliban fighter. So the boys were in the green zone, we're getting into it. We went up the first day. Medevacs were trying to land in the area. A lot of heavy fire. We had to pull away from our OP to go get some tanks. Tank hit a pretty big IED. Medevac the guy, and then we sat up in observation for the night with 2 tanks and 2 gun trucks. Next day came, guys started getting hit real hard when they stepped out on patrols. Had to run more medevacs out there. Again, we were in Overwatch, so we were trying to just be eyes and ears. We had some Cobras come in. Pulled back the next morning to go do a VCP, a vehicle control point, and set up our C-wire strands so that anybody leaving or coming in would be, stopped by us or at least slowed down because we can't hold a whole valley. And then got the word that day that one of my best friends was killed 2 days before in the first medevac going in, and his point man was killed the next day. So that was our last stop, dude. We were fucking, that ruined it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, dude, this last one is, you know what I mean? We're fucking going home in a month, and yeah, pretty hard. So we finished that shit up. Pretty much the most blatant disrespect that I've ever had for my own life. I would just smoke a cigarette in the minor roller, hoping to God somebody shot at us so we could engage back, but it never happened. It was tough, man. He was in Bravo Company when he passed, but he did our first deployment with us in Charlie. So he was with us all the way through the half.
Who was that?
Eugene C. Mills, the 3rd. So yeah, he was a fire team leader in Bravo. He was one of the best team leaders in my squad, in my platoon, until he got pulled. But yeah, so we got back to Leatherneck, and then that was June 22nd. 23rd was Hogan. 24th I found out. 25th I slept in a cemetery because my AC broke in the fucking truck. That was horrifying. Went back to 27th. So probably from June 28th until like July 27th, we just fucking sat at Leatherneck, man. And that was the end of our deployment. Battalion lost 4 on top of the 6 we lost from the first pump. So relatively lucky for Marine Corps standards, but horribly shitty for being in the battalion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just fucking, dude, literally just had to sit on Leatherneck and just fucking think about it because we couldn't go out and run ops because we were leaving. You know what I mean? So that fucking sucked. But at least we were with each other, as we always say. Came home and decided I was getting the fuck out.
Why did you decide to get out? Just too much.
Dude,
just too much back to back.
There was no point in the fucking war. Like there is. I'm all about it, dude. I'm stoked I got to go to war. I'm fucking very in a weird fucking way. I'm fortunate. Like I only want to join the Marines. How lucky am I that this fucking war lasted that long? You know what I mean? Like I got super lucky. But we were supposedly doing these operations to get reinforced by Afghan security personnel, and I never fucking saw one. So why the fuck am I going to go back out and die? You know what I mean? Like that's exactly where my mind went. Mm-hmm. So I looked at staying in, And I looked at trying to go MARSOC, and they were like, yo, you need one more deployment, you need to be a corporal. And I was like, fuck that. I'd probably fail anyway because I'm not a runner. And then I looked at trying to become a firefighter, like a Marine firefighter. And they were like, yeah, no, you gotta extend, do this pump out to Japan. You'll be like a squad leader maybe. And then we could see what's going to happen. And I was like, fuck no, nope, I'm gone. So I applied for school. I was supposed to get out in July. I got out in January 1st, 2013.
Oh, yeah, I remember that you were telling like how you didn't know that all of a sudden they got accepted and you.
Oh, dude,
just like...
I was drunk as fuck one night in my room, and I got a text message from my boy, and he goes, check your MOL. And I was like, fuck you, dude. It's like 12:30. He goes, check your MOL, and I checked my MOL, and it said January 1st. It was December 14th. And I was like, we're supposed to check out in 2 weeks, and everyone goes on Christmas fucking leave? Dude, it was a pain in the ass. But yeah, we did it.
How was the transition out of the Marine Corps?
Shitty.
Like leaving, where were you at? You were in Lejeune.
I was in Lejeune, yeah. So
how was the transition back to civilian life, getting out of the Marine Corps?
I was around good people. Luckily, that helped, but I was still fucked up. A lot of survivor's guilt, I think it was. Maybe some moral injury, as some would call it, in some other way, like for some other shit. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was detached, emotionless. I'm still pretty emotionless. I'm still kind of detached, but like,
I was gonna ask you that. Like, how do you, like, I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about it.
Bring it up.
But like, I've never lost anybody. The closest person I've lost to me was my grandfather. But I've never lost somebody to war. I've never lost like a dear friend of mine. But my question really is like, how do you, like, number one, what's going through your mind as you find out your friends are KIA, and you're hearing it secondhand. You weren't there; they were in a different, battle space.
Well, we were in the same battle space at different frequencies.
Well, that's what
the same battle space. Yeah, I mean,
like you hear it secondhand, you hear it, from somebody else, and then you come home now dealing with Survivor's Guild. Like, what's going on in your mind?
So for the first one, for Sutton and Warren, we were my platoon was in an engagement. We got told to pull back, because we were in engagement, and then went down to go see what we hit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What the fuck's it called? BDA, Battle Damage Assessment, because we fired a fucking rocket at somebody, which was, I think, pretty cool. I didn't get to see it. Went to go check it out, and then as we were going down there, they're like, hey, come back, pull back up. There's a helo coming in. We need to, like, secure the area. And we're like, what the fuck's a helo coming in for? And we get up there, and I was a radio operator on the first deployment. Now I'm in a truck, so there's a radio right next to me, and I hear them calling Zap. I call up a 9 line, and they go, we have 2 alphas, and they give the alphas names, and they said, we have 2 kilos. I said, Brian, what the fuck's a kilo? And he looked at me, and he turned the radio up, and I was like, Brent, what the fuck is a kilo? And then I heard him give out 2 more Zap numbers, and I realized it. A kilo means killed. And I was like, oh. Yeah, so I fucking dropped there, and then heard the Zap, I heard the numbers, so it's like, I heard Charlie Echo Whiskey last 4. I heard Charlie Sierra, and I didn't really know who they were at first. I was like trying to come up with guys, and I was in the weapons platoon, and Steve was a mortarman, so everybody knew immediately. Like, it got passed around real quick. That fucking sucked. And then, but we were still there, so we could still engage in the fight. You know what I mean? Like, with Mills, it just so happened that my platoon was assigned to my old squad to do the VCP. Mm-hmm. And so I see Ross walking up to the truck, and we had the C-wire on the front of my mine roller, and I get out, and I was like, what's up, bitch, you need some help? And he just looked at me and grabbed the C-wire, and I was like, yo, what the fuck's up, dude? And he told me, and I thought he was fucking joking, because like we were here on leave, and Mills had a fucking he had a mono or something, and it swelled up his tonsils, so he couldn't breathe. So they took him to the hospital. When I was drunk, I was passed out drunk. They took him to they took him to Jersey Shore Medical Center in Neptune by my house. And I wake up in the morning to like, hey, we're at the hospital, Mills can't breathe. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? And he sends me a picture with a sheet over him, and he goes, Mills is dead. And I was like, oh my God, I get to the hospital, and Mills is smoking a cigarette outside the ER. And I was like, you fucking assholes. And so now here we are 2 years later. and I like thought he was fucking around, and then Sergeant Steinkamp came over and just gave me a hug. That guy don't hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That guy don't hug, man. And because he was Mills' squad leader in the first deployment. So once that happened, I knew what was going on. And then we got back, and it was just, hey, we have to. Like I said, it was a month of sitting on Leatherneck, dude. So first thing I remember doing is like reaching out to my family because they knew. I remember talking to them right before we left. I was like, yeah, like. Obviously not without giving out like details of what was happening. I was like, yeah, there's a chance I'm gonna see Mills. Like we're doing the same thing. I was just talking to him, and they're like, oh, that's awesome. Tell him I said hi. And yeah, so my parents, my girlfriend at the time, they went to the funeral, the viewing. They didn't make the funeral because they couldn't do that. They told me they couldn't do that with me still over there, which I respect. But yeah, dude came home and it was different, dude. It was real fucking different. We, 4 of us went up to Arlington in our blues before there was a headstone, and we had our own little funeral and shit. The company was nice enough to give us off for that. So, that was tight. It was also my 21st birthday, so we got fucking wasted. Drank PBRs and Jaeger bombs in honor of Gene. Oh, dude, we got fucked up, dude.
So that's the story behind the PBR?
Yeah, that's why I got the PBR today.
Hey, so just so you guys know, I pick him up, get him in the car, and I say, hey, I'm going to stop and get a beer because I haven't had one all week and I'm just really been in the mood for one. And I'm like, do you want anything? He says no. Pull up to the liquor store, park the car, and he goes, you know what? Can you get me a PBR? Tall boy. I'm like, okay. So I go out, I go inside, I buy it, and then I bring it back in, and then I bought my own beer, and then I go to tell him about the beer that I bought because he's like, oh, what did you get? And then the first drink he drinks is not only his PBR, but mine. No, which is not a problem because I knew it was going to happen.
I might steal another one of those too.
Hey,
love it.
That's fine. But you know, so what's this? So Mills drank PBR.
He just had a shit taste in beer, dude. Yeah, he like PBR and Natty Bows. If you're from Maryland, he's fucking trash. Yeah,
bro. So dude, it's funny because of my boy Murphy. My boy Murphy literally lives and dies by Natty.
Oh,
he will literally drink a 30-pack of Natty,
dude.
And I'm like, dude, you're a grown man who has money and who can buy tasteful beer, but you choose to buy Natty, and he's like, yeah, dude. Or he buys Bush. He lives by Bush.
I only
Bush
drink
is
Natty
his.
if Mills' family gives it to me. That's just, dude, otherwise, I'm like, this fucking sucks. And they're like, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Where was Mills from?
Laurel, Maryland. But he liked to tell people he was from Jersey. He was a fucking character. He was a character. But yeah, he's from Laurel, Maryland. His parents are great people, man. Teresa and Gene.
Yeah.
Big Gene's a retired Prince George County Sheriff's Officer. Or Prince George County Police. I don't know what the fuck they are. But it's county. Yeah, he was SWAT for a while. Yeah, his mom's just a sweetheart, Teresa.
So were you and Mills were like close? Like
Yeah, we were pretty close. Obviously, his best friend was definitely my boy Ross. Me and Ross were roommates. So guess who's always in the room? Mills. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we grew to fucking love each other. But I definitely he was friends with everyone, man. Like you meet so many people that are like, oh, he's my best friend, and I'm like, Marshall was his best friend, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Like I was like the kid's been to my house like 3 times. Like I'm not gonna say he was one of my best friends, hands down, man.
Yeah,
like, hands down. But he was Marshall's best friend for fucking sure. Yeah, they came from Kings Bay together, so they had actually gotten in a little bit of trouble where they were security forces, and they both got moved from Kings Bay to 1-8 as reprimand. So they knew each other super well from that, being on restriction shit together, and then coming in, they were the only 2 that knew each other. Nice. And then I was fortunate enough to get to know both of them really well. And I'm still in shit. Me and Marshall talk almost every day.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, no.
So how was the transition out of the Marine Corps?
It was bumpy. So I didn't think I had anything wrong. I was like, I'm fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, my fiance, I got engaged after my second deployment when I came home. I got engaged on leave. We were both young, but she knew there was something up. I got out January 1st. January 27th, I fucking punched a house 3 times and broke both my hands. Which sounds stupid. It is. But the best thing that ever happened to me, because within 26 days of getting out, or 27 days of getting out, I knew that I needed to go talk to somebody. I had just anger, man. Like, I could fight no matter what. I didn't give a fuck. Just real angry. Yeah, so wasn't engaged anymore. I was working. I was going to school. I was bartending. I started bouncing. Became a firefighter. Got all my certs. Still ran first aid, and decided that I either wanted to do some sort of protective security for the rest of my life or become a firefighter. So those were kind of the two routes that I started looking down. But it was a lot of therapy. Man.
How was it like now you came back to Jersey, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you moved back. Did you move back in with your parents?
Yeah.
So how was that transition? Like
Rough.
going from being on your own, dealing with the Marine Corps, deploying, dealing with all that stuff, to now, hey, here I am back in New Jersey, back in like where I left.
So I moved home, and then I lived in an apartment for like 8, 9, 10 months with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But that was bad news. He was a 3-6 Marine, 2 deployment to Marja. We were fucking the wild child in that fucking apartment. We were in Section 8, and people wouldn't fuck with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we paid full price. We lived in Section 8 apartments, and people were like, don't fuck with them. Like, we were wild, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we'd, like, sit out back with crossbows and shit and listen to country music. It was fucking tight. Yeah. He's a great dude. But, yeah, man, dude, my parents, man, like, they... Unfortunately, I wish I didn't have to live with them because they saw sides of me that I wish nobody would see. You know.
Did you, when you came home? If you don't mind me asking, did you deal with like alcoholism at all? Did you deal with like
not necessarily alcoholism?
How were
I was
you
self-medicating.
Coping? Yeah. How are you coping with everything that you had just dealt with?
Fucking drinking, and I slept a lot. To be honest, and then I figured out that sleeping wasn't going to be good, so I worked a lot. But I worked in bars, so I'd get off and I'd have a couple drinks, and it was normal. You know what I mean?
So were you just kind of like trying to forget about everything that happened and just...
Yes and no. Dude, it was so, like... If anybody asked me, I had no problem talking about it.
Yeah.
If I got really drunk, I had no problem talking about it. You know what I mean? I would drink, and then I would get in my own head. And then I just didn't want to be around people because I would get real sad. You know what I mean? And I wasn't in a good place, man. And like I said, so I was also going through all my stomach issues at this time too.
Yeah.
Like, so I went through like a 6-month period of no alcohol, no gluten, fucking eating right, and I still had all these stomach issues. So I was like, if I'm gonna have them, why the fuck not drink?
Let's enjoy while I have them.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. I was like, if I'm gonna shit water and fucking throw up, I'm gonna fucking just drink, dude. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, so like I tried all that shit, man, but there was something wrong, dude. It got worse and worse and worse, and then mental illness, dude. Like not mental illness, like but you know PTS, fucking TBI, like everything was there, man. And throwing up got worse and worse and worse. Shitting all the fucking time, nothing was solid. I'd been hospitalized like 2 to 4 times. I fucking forget. With these stomach issues, like I would fall. Dude, one night I stood up. It was Thanksgiving. I couldn't go. I told my parents, I was like, you gotta go, I can't go. I'm like, alright. They thought I just didn't want to go. I stood up to go to the bathroom, I fucking fell over. I called my boy that was working on the first day that night, and I was like, yo, you gotta pick me up in the ambulance, dude. You gotta take me to Jersey Shore. I was there for 5 days. They're like, oh, you have colitis. Go get a fucking colonoscopy. You don't have colitis. Go back to the hospital. Hey, you have colitis. Go get another thing. You know what I mean? So it was just, dude, I was just defeated at the end, man. Like, I was fucking defeated.
And this is where... This all stems to everything that happened.
Yeah. So I started getting worse and worse, just mentally, just nothing made sense. But I realized now I was septic, so my body was fucking not doing too good. So it's 2016, and the last thing I kind of remember is right before Memorial Day, and it's all real blurry. Went to the hospital September 17th thinking I had pneumonia because I had fought a fire like 3 or 4 days beforehand. There was 3 houses well involved, like a block from the ocean. We were real short on manpower. I got my dick pushed in. I got some work, dude. I was so tired. But I thought I had pneumonia from it because I was operating a hand line outside without my coat on after fucking, it was just ideal temperatures to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the hospital. I wake up I'm at work on a Friday night, working the door at the Headliner. My boss goes, dude, you look like shit. And I tell me I feel like shit. And he goes, you should go home, man. Go to the doctor. You've been sick for too long. Go to the doctor. Because I've been telling everybody know I was throwing up at work. And it was all bile. It's not like I was drunk at work throwing up. I was throwing up bile. I'd be talking to somebody, hey, I'll be right back. Blah!
Yeah.
All right, dude, what's up? Just like that.
Yeah.
And it was always bile. So he's like, dude, you look like shit. Caitlin said you're not feeling well, you need to go home. So I had a girlfriend that worked there too, and she's, so they're like, you go. I was like, all right. So I get in the car, call my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm going to go to the hospital. She's like, go home. I'll see you when you get there. If worst comes to worst, I'll drive you over. I go, all right. I went home, I passed out. Woke up in the morning, I still had my earpiece in from the club, and my dog was licking my face. Doesn't do that. So, dude, I felt like I was dying. I don't know how else to put that.
No. So your dog woke you up from licking you?
Yeah, he was licking me, and I felt like I was dying. I don't know why. I don't know how. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't know what you mean because I've never felt
No,
like
yeah, no, I can't even describe it, dude, because I don't really remember it. I remember waking up, and I was like, what are you doing? And then I was like, oh, something's wrong. And I took off my memorial band, I took off my dog tags, went through my wallet, I only brought my insurance card and my driver's license. And I made my mom take me to the hospital. And I smoked a cigarette, went inside, and by the time my mom parked the car, they were admitting me upstairs. Because my blood pressure was 70 over 40.
Mm-hmm.
I was in shock. They don't know how I walked in there, really.
Yeah.
Obviously thought I was overdosing or thought I had been on some bad drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Checked me. And they were like, hey, bud, we're going to give you something to chill out, and we're going to take you upstairs. And then that's really the last thing. I remember arguing over some shit, and then I got intubated the next morning. That was September 17th, something like that, 2016. Woke up from I think they medically induced me. I really don't know all the fucking details. They medically induced me or some shit. I was fucked. I was the most critical patient in Jersey Shore, which is a really critical hospital. I was the sickest patient there. I had a nurse in my room at all times. I was on a ventilator. I was on, I think they counted 34 or 44 IV bags.
Oh, shit.
Oh, dude, I was fucked. Everybody that came and saw me fucking said goodbye to me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. My boy Marshall Ross, he fucking drove in from Missouri. He was the first person my mom called. My mom's like, yo, fuck his girlfriend, we're calling Marshall. Legit, dude. And Marshall drove from Missouri. He told me, he said he fucking said goodbye, went to Arlington. Told Mills to take care of me. I was fucked, dude.
Wait, hold on, say that again?
He went down to Arlington where Mills is buried.
So before he came to see you.
No, he came to see me
and
then
said
goodbye to me.
Oh,
and then went
shit.
to Mills and was like, yo, treat him well, dude.
Oh,
yeah, no,
wow.
I was fucked.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, dude, I should not be here right now. I should not be here.
So he came here.
Yeah.
Saw you.
Yeah.
Gave his last respects to you.
Yeah, pretty
then
much.
Went to Mills and said, hey, man.
I might have fucked that. Either he said, don't take him or treat him well. But
or
I think
just,
he said,
yo,
treat
take
him well.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, one of those. One of those. Yeah, it was dude, fuck this guy.
All right, it's his time.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, everybody wrote me off, man. I was fucked.
Yeah. Now, at this time, you don't remember any of this?
I
do,
do, and
this is all hearsay?
I remember...
Or secondhand?
Certain people
yeah.
being there, but in weird situations. Dude, I was...
And then you at some point in the last interview, you had said that there was points of where you felt hallucination.
Yeah, so
had come in.
I was hallucinating, I think, during the coma because I remember shit that happened when I was definitely in coma. But then when I woke up, I remember more shit. But I can't tell you what was what because I didn't have my vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was hallucinating real fucking wicked when I did come out of it.
When you came out of a coma, did you still have what? Run us through that. You come out of a coma.
I came out, but I didn't know where the fuck I was, dude.
Okay.
For a while, because I kept having temperature spikes. So I had temperature spikes the whole time that I was sick. The 4 years, my temperature would just rise and then drop. So that's why it might be visceral leishmaniasis. We don't fucking know because Fauci was actually just doing that test on dogs, so I'm cool with it. Fuck the dogs. I need to know what happened. So where was I going? I'm sorry. What the fuck was the question, dude?
I asked you, did you know what
Oh,
was going on?
yeah. So when I was having these temperature spikes, and I was wearing a gown, obviously, and I remember people kept coming in and picking up the gown, but in my head, I was wearing a kilt, and I was in a desert, like a beachy desert with trees. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I knew something was up with my legs because my corpsman was there. My old corpsman came up to visit me, fucking Ricky Recon fucker. He came up to visit, and he brought some medical records for me, which is why I'm not going to say his name. And he was able to give them to the hospital. And I remember him talking, and I remember him looking at my feet, and I remember me thinking it was my fault that I kept boots on for too long. Like, so like, yeah, dude.
You didn't use your Motrin and you didn't drink water.
Dude, seriously, like somewhere in the coma between all these guys coming up, like at one point I thought I had been shot in the spine. Like,
so all this shit's going through your head.
Yeah,
and you're like,
I didn't
where
know
the
why
fuck
I was there. I couldn't talk. And nobody knew I was blind, so like I couldn't fucking talk.
So through all this time you're blind.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
when do you come to and understand that you no longer have at what point did you no longer have legs?
I went in, so they have to take you off all these drugs before they put you under to remove a leg, right?
Okay.
So I started coming to.
So now hold on, I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
When it comes to the removal of the legs, did they?
I had no part in this, man.
So did they ask your family?
Yeah, my family had to sign off on it.
But now, what was the purpose behind it?
Was
there
black.
any?
They look like Mr. Deeds' feet.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So.
And now they don't know why.
All the medication that kept I told you I was in shock, right?
Yeah.
Obviously shock, all the blood stays to your core to keep your organs going.
Yeah.
I had multiple organ failure. So they're giving me pressors to keep the blood to my core to sustain my organ function.
Mm-hmm.
That pulls blood from your extremities. So it pulled blood from my feet, my hands, and my eyes.
So
That's
you
why I
lost
blood flow. Yeah, my optic nerve. I lost blood flow to my optic nerves. I lost blood from my feet, and that's why I'm missing some fingernails. I don't have good feeling in my hands. I have neuropathy. Yeah, so I'm always giving myself a stranger. It's bigger now. They cut the legs off. There's more place for the blood to go. These are all jokes. I'm just kidding. It was essentially the medications that kept me alive took the extremities, but I'm still alive. So that's how I look at it. I'm like, fuck that shit, dude. You don't need that shit. It's all about my brain works, dude. They're worried I might be fucking brain dead. I was a vegetable when I was in there. I couldn't move my fingers.
Yeah.
But like I didn't know I was losing a leg. So I remember going to different I remember like different doctors. I remember them talking about my feet. I remember all this weird shit. And then it wasn't until they took me off all the drugs. It was the morning of the operation, and all my family was there. And I was like, this ain't good. You know what I mean? I'm like, am I getting put down like a fucking dog? Like, why is my family here? Because in my head, I had taken an ice boat from Jersey Shore.
Ice boat?
Well, hold up. So I was in Jersey Shore, and then I medevaced. This is all in my head. I never left fucking Jersey Shore at this point. It's in Jersey Shore.
I hate to laugh.
It's hysterical. The meds that kept me alive, I felt like I got medevaced to 100 Central Medical Center where my grandma was when she died. Because I remember being in her old room in my own bed. Like, I could see the room around me, and it was her room. I was never there. And then from there, I took an ice boat up the Hudson.
Did you want another beer?
If you don't mind, dude. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I took an ice boat up the Hudson to this new hospital, and then it was really cold. And I was in an ice boat because my temperature spikes were so bad they had me in a cooling blanket.
Okay.
So
it's right in front of you, right there.
Thank you, sir. So I get up there, and I remember like these doctors like checking my feet. And I knew something was up, but I couldn't tell what, and I couldn't ask questions. And then I'm sure anytime somebody talked to me, I was fucking doped up or asleep. So the morning comes where now in my head I'm in a hospital. I'm not in a hospital. I'm in a church, right? Like it's like a church or like cathedral. Like I'm in like where the singers would be.
Okay.
And that's in my. Dude, I have no fucking clue, bro.
Yeah.
I'd be here for 20 hours trying to explain the intimate details because it's so detailed.
So you're hallucinating, but you don't know that you are.
Yeah.
So all of these different things are just coming together, and they're like.
Yeah.
And right now you
but
can't piece what's reality.
The people. Yeah. Like the nurses were Eskimos when I was wearing the cooling blanket, and then when they weren't, like I was in a church, dude. It was just fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
And then I remember going into a room, like, and my whole family came with me, and then they were like, we'll see you in a little bit, buddy. We love you. And I was like, where are we going here? And I went to the OR. And I started to realize something was about to fucking happen. And I went out, dude. And then I legitimately remember waking up. I don't know if they were taking me out of the room or putting me in an elevator, but I remember it sounded like doors. They were waiting for doors to open or something. Mm-hmm. And I woke up, and I felt dude, I can't tell you why this is the only picture I pictured, and I still do, but it felt like a cinder block was on my leg, and there was an elephant fucking perched Haji squatting on top of the cinder block. That was the only thing I can still tell you. That's what it felt like was happening to my
I just got that imagination.
Yeah,
like right now I see
because my
it.
leg hurt so fucking much. I just woke up after the amputation.
I just see the elephant Haji squatting.
Yeah, just on your... like this. I have pictures, little fucking things like this. Yeah, I don't know why, dude. A little bonnet maybe, but yeah, dude, it fucking hurt so goddamn much. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is up with my leg?
Yeah.
And then they doped me up, and then a week later they took the next leg, and then remember they took out the drainage tube with one leg, and I fucking passed out from pain on Dilaudid and fentanyl.
So as I'm gathering this,
yeah,
realistically, all of this is happening,
and I can't.
But you don't correlate it. So you wake up with no legs.
I woke up with legs, but I couldn't move. And I woke up with severe pain, and then severe pain. And I knew, I had a feeling they took my legs, but I thought they were above the knee.
Yeah.
So
when do you realize that you've lost your...
They took my second leg on November 20th, or October 20th. I probably realized it right before Halloween. So apparently it took me like 10 days to realize that I didn't have legs. And it took me...
Now, how long were you in the hospital?
From September 17th until November 7th.
So almost 2 months. So almost 2 months.
Yeah. And
now what's going through your... I'm assuming you've had conversations with your parents throughout this.
I couldn't talk.
Well, no, I'm saying now.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
Oh, yeah.
What's going through their mind throughout all of this?
They were kind of like emotionally numb. They kind of just like went retarded with it, if that's the best way to put it. Like they were just day by day. But in my head, dude, I didn't know what the fuck was happening. You know, I had heard a doctor tell my mom that I'd never be able to fucking move again. I had heard that. And I was like, that's not cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But...
So now, your friend...
Yeah.
And you said other people had counted you out. Did your... I'm using his words. Did your family...
I don't know.
Did your mother... Like, what was her thought? Was she...
I put them through so much, dude. I don't want to ask that question. You know what I mean?
I got you.
I just remember, like, not just the 2 deployments to Afghanistan. I'm living with them now.
Yeah.
And I would leave in the middle of the night to go to a house fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
bro, you're just like the worst son ever.
Oh, dude, nah, I feel so bad for my fucking parents.
Do you have other siblings? I haven't asked you.
Dude, just me.
Oh, it's just you.
Yeah.
So they're lucky to have you, huh?
Like, my dad would go to work in the morning and he would see like the way the truck was parked at the firehouse, and he knew that like I was inside of a house that was actively on fire. You know what I mean? Like,
so you've just given your parents heart attack upon heart attack.
Oh yeah.
So after all this goes on, when do you come to and now understand fully?
Definitely around November 7th when I left. So I just started to learn how to talk probably 2 days before then.
Put
something down my throat.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned how to talk. They'd given me physical therapy, which was really just 2 chicks picking me up and showing me how to pick up my arms, but I couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told me I was going up to Kessler, which is where Superman went. So I was like, fuck yeah, dude. And I went to Kessler, and bro, thank God. Like, I had a trach, so I was on, like, the severe floor. I was one of the only patients that could speak.
So that's why you have the scar right here?
Yeah, that's what this is. So I went to the floor, like, the most, like, intensive floor that they had. And, man, I could barely move my fingers when I got there. Mm-hmm. And by the time I left, I was getting in and out of my own wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
Wiping my own ass, taking a shower. And that was in 2 months.
So, my question is, what year is this?
2016.
Okay. So, in the past now 5 years,
yeah,
what's the mental state that you've gone through? Because I feel like mentally this is a lot of shit. And this is the same thing I was talking to Brandon about on the episode I did before this one, I Am Subs. I told you earlier, he had a an intoxicated driver pinned him in between his car and the other car, and it took him a year to get back to like not normal because he still has abrasions on his leg.
Yeah.
But it took
As
him
close
a year.
as he can.
Yeah. So and he'll always be have issues with his body, but like the thing that I was asking him is like what's going on mentally, like with you, because now I can't imagine waking up and not having my legs or having my vision. Like I can't imagine living a day without the things that I use every day. Like,
I think I just got lucky, man. I woke up and it was like, well, this is how the fuck it is. Like, there's no reason to sit back and go, well, I don't have no, I gotta fucking still do shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have to piss. I have to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
I have to fucking... I was so fucking thirsty. I had people feeding me with a sponge water, dude, because I was eating out of a peg tube.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 months. I didn't fucking eat or drink fluids for like 2.5, almost 3 months. And I remember, like, when I could finally drink water, somebody had to hold a Gatorade bottle, like a sports bottle from a football team over my mouth and spray it. And then the first day I could move my fucking hands up like a seal and squirt it all over my face, dude. I was so fucking... I remember one day, I was like, yo, Christina, I'm going to scratch my face. And she goes, do it. And I slapped myself because I didn't have the fine motor skills. Yeah. I had gotten my strength back to move my arm, but I didn't have the skill to touch my face.
Yeah. So you slapped yourself.
Yeah, man. But, like, it's one of those things where it's, like, it's so overwhelming, but it's, like, this is what it is now. There's no fucking going
So
back.
now, before...
There's no pill I can take. There's no amount of push-ups I can do. It's not the PTSD.
You'll never be back to normal.
It's not the PTSD where I was broken in a way that I couldn't figure out why. I was so fucked up.
Yeah.
Why? I know there's guys that have had it way worse than me. I know there's deployments that make mine look like a fucking cakewalk. It makes me look like I fucking stood post at Qatar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no offense to the National Guard guys that I'm clearly talking shit about. but like, I couldn't justify what the fuck was going on in my head before all of this happened.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with an invisible injury is you don't know what is wrong, but something's wrong. Yeah. Now, it's fucking clear as fucking day. Yeah. I can't see, I can't walk. To me, personally, it's made it easier to adapt. Yeah. So, this is the best that ever happened to me, post getting out, in the weirdest fucking way.
Yeah. So, you're thankful for it?
What's that?
Are you thankful for it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm thankful for anything life gives me, and this has definitely pushed me into a path that I would have never normally gone down.
Here's a different question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think, and clearly we would never know the answer to this question, right? This is all hindsight's 2020. This is all just skepticism. Do you think that being an infantry Marine, being in the Marine Corps, is the reason why you can adapt to everything you've dealt with?
Yeah.
Because anybody else, and that's the same thing, because the guy that I was talking to, Brandon, he's an infantry Marine. And one of the things that he was talking about in his episode was, and when I was listening to this, I was like, dude, no way. So he gets hit by this car. He gets pinned between his car and the other car. And he maneuvers his way out of said car. And the woman that, like, there's a bystander. The bystander takes him, puts him in the back of his car. He called his wife, and they were supposed to meet because she was supposed to pick up the dog from the vet because that's where he was, I think, when it had happened.
Yeah, you were saying something about the dog.
And he says the first thing he said... Oh, no, sorry. The first thing he says was, I have to be calm when I call my wife. So he was supposed to go meet with a friend, a business partner, for lunch or something, I think it was. I'm sorry if I messed this up. And he calls his friend and leaves a voicemail. And he just says, hey, so-and-so, I've been in a car accident. I'm not going to be able to meet you. And he uses that as a way to calm himself down. Mm-hmm. Then he calls his wife, and he tells his wife, hey, I've been in a car accident. No need to be concerned. Everything's good. Then, the next thing you know, he's in an ambulance, and his wife is calling his cell phone. The paramedic in the ambulance answers the phone, now telling his wife, like, your husband's going to the ER, like, he's in critical conditions, like, all that stuff.
Now, yeah.
But, like, one of the things that I talked to Brandon about was just the idea that, like, in my head, the Marine Corps had prepared him for those events for him, because anybody else wouldn't be thinking, okay, let me relax myself, lose the fear, call my wife, calm myself down, and now here you are going through this traumatic time, and the first thing you think of is, it could be worse.
Dude, it could always be fucking worse, man. There's the way I look at it, I got so lucky in multiple different ways, right? Like, I always joke around, like, I got 5 more years out of my legs than I thought I would, and I fucking mean that. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking CMD'd my ass around fucking Afghanistan.
Well, that was the question I had actually in the first episode, was just, you know, one of those, and it's a question that I feel like people, some, maybe not you, but others would be bothered by, is that you go to Afghanistan, you go to, you know, you deploy, you come home fully fine, and then all of a sudden, boom, one day. A little bit
of blood here and there, but no big deal.
Yeah,
right?
But I'm saying, like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm messing around. I'm not messing around.
You know, but you,
yeah.
But you come home, and it's like, you know, and it's like I've had conversations with parents who have lost their children in training accidents, not overseas, and it's like, to me, it's gotta suck to know that, like, I lost my legs in America, not being blown up over an IED, like that it wasn't something caused by war, but now we don't know what it was caused by.
I'm 99.9% it's caused by fucking Afghanistan.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. Especially like especially I'm not a doctor, but when I was in Afghanistan, I remember they told us, I don't remember the name of it, but I remember they told us, hey, only drink this type of water. It was a bottled water, and it was a specific brand, and they said, hey, and they were like, hey, only drink that one. Then 8 months into being in Afghanistan, a month before we leave, they say, we just found out that water was being made at a shit plant. And you've now been drinking shit water for 8 months. And now all of us are like, oh, that's fucking great. Yeah. So my question to you simply is, you don't know what you ingested, whether it was over water, whether it was over food, whether it was over...
in the dirt, man.
Dude, and you also got to think about how many times... You know, how many times were you, you know, I know that I did. How many times did you eat goat? How many times did you eat chicken? How many times did they prepare food for you? And they don't wash their hands. They prepare you food and they smoke a hookah around the food and then do bong rips while you're eating dinner.
I would trade a child's cigarettes for kebabs.
Yeah. Dude, but it was great food.
I've never seen a kid's mom.
Now I wonder why I have the shit so bad.
Yeah.
You know, but it was great food though, I'm not gonna lie.
But the way I look at it, man, is I could have very easily been blown up over there.
No.
And this is
or died.
This is nothing against the men and women that have been blown up over there, but the benefit that I see for me is those motherfuckers didn't know that this happened. Right? So if I did hit something, they hear the boom. Right? Hey, sometimes,
they don't have the gratification.
Sometimes we control dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when the helicopter comes in, they know something happened.
Yeah.
They didn't get that with me, man.
They didn't get to praise Allah for this shit.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. I look at it that way, and maybe it's a way I tell myself to fucking not go crazy over it. But the way that my surgeries were done, my doctor knew a week before this one, 2 weeks before that one. I wasn't some fucking poor guy on a fucking foot patrol.
Yeah.
Getting rushed to Bastion at 9 in the morning with 12 other amputees from different areas. Yeah. I didn't have.
It's a very dude.
I didn't have follow-on surgeries, man.
I gotta be honest, man. You're the way you're putting it makes I understand now.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine the very big difference between the two. Okay, the difference between one is I just got blown up, I'm being brought to Bastion, or I'm being Kazovac to Germany, and they're going through all this shit, and I got to deal with it. Or I'm here in New Jersey, and now a surgeon can look at me and say, okay, this is what we're going to do now.
There's no rush.
They can deduce it. Yeah.
It's not that rush of the bat. It's not the, what do they call it? The fog of war.
Yeah. So now, what's... My next question is just... How is life different from having all of these things to not?
Dude, I haven't seen titties in 5 years. No, I'm just... no, life, dude, it's just every day is different, man. Luckily, part of my story is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation heard my story. I'd been a supporter before I lost my legs and my vision. I went back to... So
can you tell me about that? Because I already heard it, but I want them to hear it because I think it's... So this morning, before I tell this, just so you know, I don't want you to think I'm a weirdo.
You are.
So this morning, I was on a Instagram Live with a Marine who's a grunt, who a week before he was about to get out of Iraq or Afghanistan, got injured, and he wrote a book, has an Instagram, goes live, and book I just bought. I have to finish reading it. But he speaks about his time in overseas, talks about his deployments, talks about his injuries, talks about being a wounded warrior. And then me and Brandon from I Am Subs were on the live at the same time. And he was talking about how, so he has I don't know if it's his left arm or his right arm, but his arm was severed, so it was reattached.
Okay.
So his one arm, he cannot bend it fully.
Yeah.
And he can't move it fully, so he has to do
like
certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was talking about how he recently started Jiu-Jitsu. And then I interrupted.
Oh, fuck him up, dude.
So I I interrupted
Challenge,
him.
bro.
So I interrupted him. He's in Utah. We'll set it up.
Yeah.
So
I'm
so
sorry,
I
dude.
got a hold of. So we were talking, and I interrupted him. I was like, dude, so I actually had gotten off the live feed because I had just gotten to work, but I was like, bro, I still had it on, and I got back on, and I was like, bro, listen, man, I was like, I just gotta add this in there. I was like, I've only heard great things about jiu-jitsu because I have a buddy of mine, Scott, that I just met recently, who is a double amputee, who's blind, who does jiu-jitsu.
Love it,
And I was like, one of the jokes he told me recently was that he can't get leg locked. And so I brought that up.
Dude.
So that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was just the transition. So we've already talked about the transition from the deployments to civilian world, but now what is it like to go from not having these things to now living without them? I'm sorry, having these things to now living without them. Yeah.
It was tough, man. I was so fortunate though. So like I said, I worked at some local bars, and I was heavily involved in volunteering in my community. So I was super fortunate. They raised a boatload of fucking money to help pay my bills, and to also renovate my parents' house. So coming home, it wasn't the most ideal situation, but goddamn it, was it great. I had widened doorways for the whole first floor of my parents' house, elevator in the back, so I could be in the wheelchair. I could access not everything, but I can get to the kitchen. You know what I mean? I couldn't really cook too well. I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. But I could shower. I could transfer to the toilet. Like, so thank God, man, for the people in this county and community, man. Like my fire department hosted it, or my fire department did all like the sponsor or the gift baskets, and then the headliner nightclub gave the venue, and the bartenders and the bouncers all worked for free. And dude, they killed it, man. They took such good care of me. Yeah, so I was able to like at least go home to something that was accessible. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say accessible slowly because I had known about the Tunnel Towers Foundation, and I went back to go prove to myself I could climb the Freedom Tower because I had done it 2 years before with legs. Little did I know, that organization called me a week later telling me they were going to build me a home.
Oh, shit.
So what the foundation is, Steven Siller was a firefighter in New York City. He was on Squad 1 in Brooklyn. 9/11, he was just getting off work. He was going home to go play golf with his brothers. He was a father of 5, and he had heard about the attack on the World Trade Center. Called his wife, Sally, said, hey, I'm going to the firehouse to my brothers. I'll meet them later. Went to his firehouse in South Brooklyn. Got his gear. Went to the trying to get into Manhattan. He got caught up at the foot of the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Put all of his gear on him and ran through the tunnel. Damn near a 5K to get to the tower. By the time he got to the tower to make his way inside to start the rescue efforts, the tower collapsed and Stephen was killed. So his family started a nonprofit in Staten Island in 2001. From that day, dude, I just heard the number this morning because I was at an event. I believe they're at 455 mortgage-free homes, whether paying off the mortgage for a fallen first responder or Gold Star family, or building a mortgage-free, custom-adapted smart home for someone like me or someone way more deserving, like these guys coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq.
Bro, I'll tell
IEDs.
you, I did, so funny story. I did the Tunnels to Towers run when I was a brand new Lance Corporal.
Okay.
And we did it as a unit, and we did it as a unit. And the funniest, I apologize, but I had to tell the story because it's funny. So I apologize if anybody doesn't appreciate the story, but sorry. So there was a sergeant major, and we had all, I remember this to this day. So we had all showed up to the unit, and as soon as you walk on the door, you're on the drill deck, and we're surrounded by the sergeant major. And first thing he says is, "All I smell is whiskey." And he's like, Marines ready to run a 5K. And we're just like, good to go, Sergeant Major. So we all end up going. We get to Brooklyn. We drive out there, get to Brooklyn, and get out of the van. And this female walks by, and she had these really, really tight shorts on. And he goes, "God damn, y'all see the cooter on that girl?"
Oh, good job,
And we're just like
mortified.
We're all just like, "Yes, Sergeant Major." We all saw, yes, we did. But I just remember, I remember we all wore flak and Kevlar boots and utes, and I remember running through that. But I remember we ran in formation called cannons, and I remember looking to the right of us, there was firemen wearing their whole get-up. So I can't imagine being, having 9/11 happen, being on this day, and you going ahead and voluntarily throwing that on. I can't imagine, and this goes back to what I was talking about before, and like you said, normal people being put in extraordinary situations, being someone who decides that, hey, I can just go home, but instead I'm going to put my uniform on, I'm going to go, and then not only am I going to don my uniform, but I'm going to run to the Twin Towers.
Dude, can I put it in a little bit of perspective?
Yeah.
So I was a firefighter, right?
Yeah.
I had the same exact year Steven Siller was issued. I fucking wore my coat and my cap, my coat and my helmet for this year's 5K. Dude, I almost fucking passed out by the time I got out of the tunnel. Like, hot as fuck. There's zero ventilation in that bitch.
Well, I remember when I ran the 5K in just in cami boots and utes, and a flak and a Kevlar, I was dying.
Dude,
I was literally like
a 20-pound fucking
and
coat.
I was 19 years old at the time, and fresh out of boot
dick.
camp. It was horrible.
So
I can only imagine.
But now think about this. This fucking guy is running through the tunnel, and it's not like he's gonna get to the base of the tower and squirt water on fucking 85 stories.
Yeah.
Now you got to go the fucking side.
Yeah.
And not just with what you're wearing, you have to bring hose to get there.
Yeah.
You have to bring extra air, dude. Those guys that day did the greatest rescue mission in history, man.
Yeah.
It was, as a firefighter, I've never fought a high rise, man. I've been to a couple fire. I don't want to say I'm a fucking firefighter like them.
Bro, I don't even know how y'all are firefighters. I don't know how people do that shit. My boy Brian is a firefighter. He's in, I think, Bayonne.
I almost got into Bayonne.
Yeah,
I almost had some family connects up there.
Yeah, Brian, dude,
place.
I don't know how the hell you just decide to run into a
You don't run, you go in slowly.
firing. But either way,
no, it's
I don't
all
know.
Calculated.
No, I understand that, but
no,
I don't know how you gradually say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go into a fire.
Dude, there's
right
just something
now.
about it, man. Where
it's the adrenaline. What?
I don't know, man. I've had only 2 fires that I've been on the knob for. One I don't remember because I was septic, and the other one was I was working with the paid guys. And dude, I remember pull up. It was a hotel, right? We're driving there. PD's like, yo, we have smoke showing. Fuck, dude, because hotels burn. If they go, they go. If they're the right material, we get there yo, get the big hose. I was like, I already was, bro. Don't worry about it. We get the big motherfucker. Go up to the 2nd floor. Go down the way. Find the room because the door's open. There's a fire extinguisher out front, so somebody would try to put it out. All right, flake the hose out, dude. Now I've already been in combat, right? So I'm pretty. I like to think I'm pretty chill, especially for a newer firefighter. I go there, put my mask on, and my fucking captain comes up, or lieutenant. Yeah, my lieutenant comes up, and the paid lieutenant. He goes, "You ready?" Ready for what? And he goes, "Ready to fucking go in there?" I was like, "Oh, well, you said it like we were gonna do another job. Open the fucking door, dude. It's just motion, man.
Yeah.
It's on fire, but you have water. If you don't have water, go quick, dude.
So what? So how did the whole thing transpire with Tunnels to Towers deciding to get you a house? Because I understand that you, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, they only do it if you are a Purple Heart recipient. Or there's certain litigation, I guess you could say.
So the limitations are typically for the Smart Hound program are catastrophically injured returning service members. So I was the first ever combat wounded service member to receive a home, and it's only because I was a firefighter and because that related with them because of Steven. And not just that, man. The family they're always looking to do something. They're always looking to do good.
Well, I saw like the other day they had recently were on the news for like announcing 5 more homes.
Oh, dude, every day they're announcing homes. And there's a home being built for a retired staff sergeant, 3 Purple Hearts. He still has his limbs. He has some shrapnel that they're still removing. He has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma diagnosed from burn pits, but they're rebuilding his home in Hazlitt.
Oh wow!
So they're always doing good things.
That's so awesome, dude. And all from one thing. And that's the thing.
Out of one tragedy, man.
And that's the thing that sucks is like out of every darkness comes light. Yeah. And that's the thing that sucks is like and finding that light is the important part.
And it all started in 2010, 2009. Sergeant Brian Delberry. I don't want to mess it up. I'm so sorry, Brian. You're a triple amputee. Sergeant Brendan Morocco was the first ever quadruple amputee to survive any war, right? And he's from Staten Island, so the foundation ended up finding out about it, and they went down to say hello at Walter Reed, and they said, "Hey, dude, we want to build you a home anywhere you want to go." And he's like, "Hawaii," and they're like, "Anywhere you want to go, dude, we'll build you a house." And he ended up moving back home to Staten Island, but that's how the foundation started. It was because somebody from their hometown. They had all had a background in construction, and they were like, "Quadruple amputee, how the fuck what do you do?
Yeah.
How do you go to the bathroom? So now my home, motion censored, automatic doors. I'll have you inside one day instead of just picking you up.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully next week.
It's all right. I've only picked them up 3 times and I haven't been invited inside. It's okay.
I have bodies in there, dude. Just kind of kidding. No, so like, yeah, it's fully accessible to me in the wheelchair. No wheelchair. Bidet. So all I have to do is push for the bathroom, dude. Fucking huge shower bench, steep seated tubs, lower microwaves, elevator on the fucking stovetop, all controlled by Alexa. Right now my roommate's there. I can put the music on and freak him the fuck out. Like, dude, it's awesome what they do, man. And it's all because they messed up my wave on the tower climb. They were supposed to be 4 of us in a wave. Myself, my platoon commander, Lieutenant David Pham. What's up, sir? He's fucking also a savage, Purple Heart. From our 2nd deployment, he was our platoon leader for 2nd platoon. He's a stellar guy, just one of the most caring individuals I've ever met in my entire goddamn life. He just retired as a major, so congrats to you, sir. Keep doing great fucking things. I love him to death, man. But yeah, he was there for. He came up to do the tower climb with me. I told him, I said, "Sir, I'm climbing the Freedom Tower." He goes, "When?" I told him. He goes, "I'll be there." Motherfucker showed up that morning with a flag and all the dog tags were falling, and we did it, man. There's 74 floors. But yeah, they messed up the waves. So 4 of us, me, my best friend, Paulie, and my physical therapist, and Pham were supposed to run it. They split us up. Paul called, told him the story. They called him back, and they were like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, he just lost his leg. He just started walking 6 months ago. He wants to prove to himself he could do this." You know, he was a volunteer firefighter, and Paul told, war stories from the firehouse, and they really fell in love with me. And I got a call a week later, "Hey man, we want to build you a home." Like, they were like, "You know what we do, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, you guys do awesome shit. That's why I care about the foundation." That's why I came back. Like, I love. We raised not a bunch. We raised a couple grand probably. You know what I mean? I was like, I wanted to help out. Like, I met a triple amputee my first time up there, and he had a home. Like, I was like, "I like what you guys do," and they're like, we want to open it up to you."
That's awesome, dude.
And it's I don't fucking deserve it. I feel like I don't deserve it, but every day I wake up in that home and I know it's built by, dude, thousands of people put in money, time.
Bro, I'll tell you right now,
effort.
Just by the month of me knowing you, you deserve it.
No, I appreciate it.
Just by this conversation that we're having, just by us, communicating, and bro, the idea that number one, you raised your hand and made an oath to the country and went and did what you did.
But it was selfish. I told you this.
I just
wanted to kick in the door and shoot somebody in the face. And
here's the thing though. Even though it came out of selfishness, at the same time, you still did it for other people. Like, you may think that at a young age you wanted clout, or you wanted fame, or you wanted.
No, I just wanted to do it.
Yeah,
dude. I never. I told you, man.
Yeah.
I've told you in the month we've been hanging out. Like, I was never the war fighter,
Yeah.
the best Marine.
Yeah.
Dude, I war watched. I took part. I had fun.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that guy.
Yeah.
And
that's
I
what's
knew I never
important,
would
though.
be.
And that's the importance, though, and that's why I wanted people on the show like you, because just because you're not that guy doesn't mean that your story doesn't deserve to be told.
Yeah.
You know, just because we've all gone through things, whether you believe it or not, whether you think your PTSD rates a percentage or not, we've all been through something, and every one of us has a story to tell.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're here. And no matter what, 9 times out of 10, whatever happens to us, we never believe we rate. And especially as Marines, we're like, oh, we don't rate that. We're not sick enough. We weren't crazy enough.
But
we
you
didn't
meet a lot of guys in the civilian world that think they rate too much.
Yeah.
And I never want to be associated
Yeah.
with that, man. So
But
I'm like, I don't
you
want
all
shit.
But it's not even about that, man. It's just being who you are, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that somebody went out of their way to take care of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it every second I'm in that house, bro.
Yeah.
Every second I'm in that house, I look around. And it was all, dude, a Vietnam vet, Mike Sassona, man. He lost both legs back in the fucking 69, 71 sometime. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Mikey told me. Mikey got a house before me. And he goes, hey, man. He goes, you're going to sit here one day. It's not going to mean anything. And one day it's going to kick in. And I was like, all right. And it always meant something, dude. Every time I went to that house. Because I didn't get to move in for like 2 months. Every time I went to the house, it meant something. Started staying there for a little bit. Alright, so I moved in March. And dude, it wasn't until like September, October. I was sitting there. This last year. One day I was laying in the chilling in the recliner, and I started crying, dude. And it was mine. You know what I mean? Like, I realized, like, I'm living as independently as a fucking blind guy can.
Yeah.
5 years being blind. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I've been like this my whole life. Like, as independently as I can.
Yeah.
Because of the greatness of fucking regular people, man.
Yeah.
And it just, any day I can push that message.
No, that's
just
awesome,
doing good,
dude.
helping each other, fucking.
That's all it's about, dude, is gratitude and just being there for other people and helping other
trying
people.
to, like, I suck at being, like, I can't, my friends have babies, like, hey, dude, you need me to drop off diaper? I can't help with that shit.
Yeah.
But what can I be there for?
Yeah.
Hey, how's the baby?
Bro, be there for a living year, that's it.
Yeah.
But
just do what you can, man.
My last question for you would really just be, granted, I don't know if there's many out there who are dealing with blindness or losing their legs, but if there's anyone out there who's dealing with PTSD or any of the things that you went through, what advice would you give your younger self?
I would say, talk to someone. No matter how fucking macho or tough, or that didn't affect me. Deep down, it might have. Just talk it out, man. Go see a doctor. Keep in touch with your boys. I know I said that in the first episode.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with your boys and girls too. I'm biased. I was infantry marine. Back when it was real. I'm just kidding. No, we didn't really have females, man. I worked with 2 FET teams. They were awesome, but I never got close enough to remember. No offense, remember there's females in service. Like, I was always around dudes at all times. But keep in touch with the guys and girls, man. No one's ever going to understand what you've been through except for you guys. And just think before you act. There's so many things, man. Just do the right thing. Just continue to do the right thing. Don't be a piece of shit. Don't make people fucking pity you. You fucking signed up. Everything that comes out of your service is not anybody else's fault but your own.
Amen.
I get mad at the government. I curse them out repeatedly because I'm still looking for a diagnosis. But guess what? I signed. That's all I ever wanted to do. Fucking, I leave my bed, I'll sleep in it, man. It's that fucking simple.
Amen.
But just be honest with yourself. And here's another thing. We kind of got into it before. If you served and didn't get to go to combat, it's not your fucking fault. Especially if you really wanted to go, man. Like, it's all about numbers. It's all about the luck of the draw. Like, I know guys that were grunts in 2010 to 2014, same time frame that I was deployed. That unit just had a MEU. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
Don't identify as the fact that you didn't deploy.
It's
like,
not.
You,
It doesn't
you
make
still
up
raised
your
your
service.
hand. You still
you
still
ask not
put
to
yourself on the line.
If you
It's
asked not to go, fuck you.
Yeah.
But you didn't ask not to go, man. You just got on the wrong battalion schedule, and it's. There's no greater honor than getting to fight alongside another Marine. That's what I've been told, and that's what I feel.
Amen.
But if you can't get there, it's not your fault. I know a couple guys that really kicked themselves in the ass for not getting to see war, and I'm like, dude, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Just if you were in a different arty unit, you would have fucking been a rifleman for fucking 4 deployments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the luck of the draw, man. So just be happy with what you did. You know, just be happy with what you did. Be proud of what you've done, and just be proud of each other, man. Semper Fi.
Amen. And I think that's the best way to end it. Semper Fi, happy birthday. I'm glad that I was able to do this episode because I wanted to do a birthday episode. I wanted to do a Veterans Day episode. I didn't have the ability to, but I just did. So happy birthday. Happy freaking Veterans Day. Thank everybody for coming out here. Thank you, Scott, for being a part of this. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Adios.
And shout out to 1-8. Love you guys.